Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. I thought today would be the perfect day to unveil this beautiful plant that I'm sitting next to. It gets its name because of the significance of today. Today being June 24th, birthday of St. John the Baptist. If you don't know, this plant right next to me, I'm in the chicken yard. The chickens won't touch it. This plant is called St. John's Wort. Chickens you'll probably see roaming around, and maybe Ginger, she's around here somewhere. But the chickens just like to eat the bugs off of this plant, and because this is the only plant they won't touch in the chicken yard, besides some woolly mullein, it grows prolifically, more so than outside the chicken yard fence. So what I'd like to show you today is this beautiful plant. The whole thing can be used. Mostly the leaves and the flowers have the medicine. The Latin name for St. John's wort is Hypericum perforatum. The perforatum comes from the leaves. If you hold them up to the light, it'll look like little windows of light coming through. Those are the oil glands, and it looks like it's perforated, therefore perforatum. But to identify this, when it blooms, it'll have 5 petals with pointed sepals. And around those petals and sepals, there are very distinguishable black dots. So in some states, like just east of us over in Idaho, some areas are considering this a noxious weed because it spreads so abundantly. But if everybody knew how great it was for medicine, they wouldn't see it as a problem. Most people would determine that this is a weed, and we all know a weed is just a plant that's not where you want it when you want it there. So most plants can be used. A lot of plants we just don't know how to use yet. But to use this plant for medicine, you want to use the fresh flowers and the fresh leaves. They all have the essential oils and the medicinal components. Who's messing around behind me? Oh, hi Ginger. They have the medicinal components necessary to treat a variety of conditions, ailments, imbalances. That shows the perfect time to do this video. The neighbors' horses are going nuts and their dogs. Anyhow, St. John's wort, I made a batch today of infused oil. I'll show you that real soon. And I also saw in the apothecary that I had a tincture that I made exactly 3 years ago today. Actually tomorrow, I lied. But it's very useful for many conditions. The thing that most people use it for is to treat depression, anxiety, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. It works very well for those, but you don't want to use it if you're already on SSRIs, so any antidepressants. In double-blind studies, St. John's wort has shown to be at least as effective as things like Prozac and your major prescribed antidepressants, yet without the addictive and dangerous side effects. You don't want to take too much, obviously, but for those chronic imbalances, if you stay on top of it and take it daily as a tincture, it can really help balance out your hormones, those negative thought patterns that lead to depression, and it'll really uplift your spirits. I've seen it work for folks with seasonal affective disorder, otherwise known as SAD. People get the blues when they don't get their vitamin D and sunlight. Just a little bit in their tea every day really lifts the spirits. Other things it can be used for, menopause, PMS, those types of hormone imbalances really level you out. It's a uterine tonic. Really tones the female reproductive system and provides balance for those considerations. Topically, it can be used as an antiseptic and antibacterial. A lot of people like to combine it with calendula, and they make a product called Hypercal. So it's the Hypericum and calendula, they call it Hypercal, and it works very well for getting rid of the infection. You don't want to use it on a wound that's too open. So if it's closed and infected, it'll seep in and help provide the anti-infection properties. But if it's still open, a lot of times it'll close it before it heals the infection, then the infection gets sealed in. But it can be used for sunburns, scrapes, burns, bruises. Topically, you just put the oil on. You can put the tincture on as well, and it's very effective for those. It can be used for arthritis topically, so just rub it into those painful joints. It can also be used as an expectorant. So cold and flu season, put some of the tincture in your tea, in your echinacea tea, your elderberry tea. I see you have some elderberry bushes right behind me too. The chickens do peck at those, but they're nice and tall, so they can't get them. But nature, God provides us wonderful plants, herbs to treat all of our conditions, or to avoid those terrible medical conditions. As far as the seasonal affective disorder, the anxiety, the depression, this is one of the most effective herbs that you can use for those imbalances. However, you don't want to use it in cases of bipolar disorders, because it can actually be a trigger for those. So keep those considerations in mind. Little show and tell for you. This is the St. John's Wort tincture I made 3 years ago tomorrow. Still add it to my teas, still add it to many different products. And then earlier today, I got a new label machine. I made a St. John's Wort infused olive oil for topical use. So once again, great for treating infection, burns, bites, scrapes, bruises. But now that it's cooled off, it's sealed nicely. And if you're interested, look me up, www.herbalexpeditions.net. And as always, thank you for joining me, and don't forget to like and subscribe and follow that trail to good health.